Hey, you two, welcome back to another episode of Inside the Parenting Matrix with Big Papa Bryan Post. Hope you guys had a fantastic week, and I'm so excited to be back here with you for another episode. You may have caught I changed the title of the show. It was Parenting Rescue. Didn't really like that because I don't like to think of myself as a rescuer because I'm not. Then I thought Parenting Breakthrough. Don't really like that either. And then recently I came up with this concept of the Parenting Matrix. And so if you haven't seen this really cool 4-minute clip, you can go to theparentingmatrix.com. And it's a clip from the show The Matrix, the movie, where Morpheus and Neo have this conversation, and Morpheus, who lives outside of the Matrix, but pops inside of the Matrix to find the chosen one, gives him an opportunity, and he gives him an opportunity to choose between two pills, a red pill and a blue pill. Choose the blue pill, life remains the same, unchanged. You go back to your average everyday life. Choose the red pill, and life changes. We're going to go down the rabbit hole. So I like Inside the Parenting Matrix because that is exactly where we are going every single week. The last 3 weeks, we've been focused on the Super Nanny show. We've got a continuation of that this week, but I plan on introducing other shows, like Dr. Phil is on my list, and a couple of other shows. And so if you have any recommendations for me, please put them in the comments. Would love to get your feedback, love to get your thoughts. Thank you so much for some of the wonderful questions that you have provided so far, and just thanks for watching. I'm glad it's beneficial. So this week we're going to go back to visiting the family we left off with last week. Let me share my screen with you. Give me just one moment. The Wischmeyer family. All right, I've already got this queued up for you. I was thinking I would be able to put it, it's going to have to be in that screen. And I apologize in advance if the recording is still not where it needs to be. I'm just not sure what that challenge is, but I'm going to continue working on figuring that out. So this where we left off last week was the dad was going through a situation, placing his child in the naughty, they said initially the naughty chair, but it's actually the naughty corner. And, there's some challenges going on. So we're going to pick up there, but let me just say something real quick before I continue on about the parenting matrix. So in the movie, Morpheus talks about the wool being pulled over the individual's eyes that exist within the matrix. And I believe that what we are going to be witnessing here, what we have been witnessing here on the Super Nanny show, is parenting from within the matrix. And that's why I call it the parenting matrix, inside the parenting matrix, because what Joe recommends to this family is what 97%, I'm saying 97% of mental health professionals, parent coaches, educators, it's what they would recommend. It's what they do. It's what 5 generations of your family has done. It's what 5 generations of my family has done. I can't say 5. I can probably say 4, 3 for sure. 3 generations of my family have done when it comes to parenting. This is what your friends and your family members do. This is what your extended family members do. This is what your pastor recommends. This is what your kids' teachers recommend. So operating inside the parenting matrix is my belief that we are not helping parents improve their relationships with their children. We are doing things under the auspices of helping parents improve their relationships with children. But actually what is being taught within the parenting matrix is fear and stress. It is actually what's being taught is a severing of relationships, because the focus within the parenting matrix is on behavior. It's on behavior outcomes, it's on behavior change, it's on behavior modification, it's on behavior feeling behavior and feeling suppression. It's not on relationship. It's not on relationship repair. It's not on strengthening relationships. It's not on strengthening the homes. It is actually just the exact opposite. However, what you are told is that it's for doing all these things. It's for helping your child. It's for loving your child more. We're going to get right into it. You're going to see right off the bat with what's said to this father. So it's just a perfect opportunity. So without any further ado, let me shut my mouth and get on into it with you guys.
Screaming. Low tone voice, okay, John? Eye contact, come down to a level. Grab her by the hand, so it is.
When I disciplined the wife, she surprised me with
Sorry.
her rage and level of tantrum I've never
I don't even know what
experienced.
that is.
When a wife behaves that way, almost makes you feel like a failure as a parent.
Go ahead, come away. Talk to me,
It
because I'm
upsets
here.
me. I'm just
I'm
wondering
here.
how do we get where, what we do to get to this point. I don't think I shed a tear in 10 years, and I teared up there, and I think it was all the emotions, just, together.
She doesn't love you any less.
Dad said it upsets me. He was stressed, okay? The super nanny could see that he was stressed. And he said, what has happened to get us here after, he said 10 years, but I guess he's thinking the totality of their parenting. And I want you to listen to what Joe says.
Low tone voice, okay, John? Eye contact, come down to a level. Grab her by the hand, so it is.
When I disciplined the wife, she surprised me with her rage and level of tantrum I've never experienced that. When a wife behaves that way, almost makes you feel like a failure as a parent.
Go ahead, come away. Talk to me,
It
because I'm
upsets
here.
me. I'm just
I'm
wondering
here.
how do we get what we do to get to this point. I don't think I shed a tear in 10 years, and I teared up there. And I think it was all the emotions, just,
Oh, Dad said he didn't think he had shed a tear in 10 years. And so all this emotion dealing with his little girl was really stirring up his emotions. And that is actually a very sad statement. And again, we're inside the parenting matrix. So this kind of conversation and communication is to be expected. But Dad said he didn't think he shed a tear in 10 years. That means in 10 years, not his wife or his children have truly felt his emotion. They've not felt his sadness. They've not felt his tears of joy. They've not felt his grief. They've not felt his pain. They've not felt his overwhelm. He's tried to cover it. And see, here's what happens. Here's what happens inside the parenting matrix. We believe that because we don't cry and because we don't show our emotions through our tears, primarily crying, and dad is probably a byproduct of the real men don't cry, so suck it up and don't cry. We believe that those around us don't know that we're upset. But here's the thing. Not only do they know we're upset, like just because we're not crying doesn't mean everyone doesn't feel. They don't feel the vibration of our upset, because they do. But here's the bigger issue. It's when we don't express our emotions, when we don't let our tears out, those around us misinterpret what it is that we're actually feeling. So Dad is feeling sad here, and it could very easily be misinterpreted as him being angry. Dad is obviously feeling overwhelmed and stressed and scared, but it can be misinterpreted as him being angry or resentful. So this could actually breed conflict between he and his wife. And one of the things I really like to encourage couples to do, especially when they're operating at this level of stress, is to take one-on-one time, rotate laying in one another's arms, literally across the lap, in one another's arms, making eye contact, being really close, and just saying, I love you, I care about you, I know how stressful this is. Tell me what you're really scared about. Tell me what really makes you sad. Tell me what really makes you angry. And then you listen. You listen and you say, I hear you, I understand, tell me more. That's all you got to do. I'm listening, I hear you, I understand, tell me more. You don't try to fix it. You don't try to justify. You don't try to rationalize. You don't try to defend. See, that's the difficult part. All you do is say, I hear you, I'm listening, tell me more, thank you, tell me more, I love you, I'm here, I'm listening, tell me more. And then you get your cries out, you get all your growls out, you get all your angries and your sads out. Then you wipe your face, you wipe your nose. Big Papa says you don't use Kleenex for wiping tears. Let your tears come out, because tears are the same chemical compound as stress. Let the tears come out of your face. Don't wipe them off, because as soon as you start wiping, then you're getting back to your cognitive mind. So the only thing you use Kleenex for is snot. When the snot starts to run across the face and you start to blow big snot bubbles, then you use the Kleenex. Otherwise, let those tears come on out. And don't be that person wiping those tears. Because as soon as you're wiping tears, you're distracting the person from their feeling, from their emotion, from their right hemisphere. Let them cry. Encourage it. Want it. Appreciate it. Thank them for it. And then once mom or dad, whoever starts, once they're done, then you flip-flop. And there's nothing more beautiful than a mom holding a dad in her arms. Men are so sensitive. This man is so overwhelmed. He is so stressed. He feels so sad. He feels so helpless. He just wants to let go. He's probably got high blood pressure. He just wants to have some release. And he's got so much generational imprinting that says men don't cry. I swear to God, in 20 years of work, I have seen men break down and release their emotions and their tears so much faster than even women. Because men don't have the outlet. It's not supposed to be okay. So they have to hold it in. So mom, you put your husband in your arms and you ask him to let it go. Ask him to trust you. Ask him to give it to you. And then don't try to fix it. Don't try to justify. Don't try to rationalize. Don't try to defend. Just say, I love you. I'm listening. I hear you. Tell me more. I love you. I'm listening. I hear you. Tell me more. Tell me more. Oh my gosh, honey, I feel so sad. Tell me more. Now, what if you're a single parent? You can do the same thing. You don't have anyone holding you, but as a single parent, you could have a friend or you could have a family member holding you and supporting you. That's a beautiful thing. But you can just lay in your bed. You can sit on the couch, breathe into your body, feel where you're holding your pain and just let it go. Just cry, boo-hoo, be angry, whatever you feel, whatever feeling comes up, be with that emotion. It's all about being with that emotion that makes all the difference. Now, I want you to listen closely to what Joe says to Dad.
Together.
She doesn't love you any less.
She doesn't love you any less. That is a classic inside the parenting matrix statement. So the little girl is in the corner yelling and bawling, and Joe says to Dad, and this is no slight to Joe, I want you to understand this. I respect the super nanny. I think she is smart and courageous and beautiful. Such a perfect, nice profile, nose, lips, chin, beautiful woman. I feel like she operates inside the parenting matrix. I don't feel like, I know she does. Because only someone who operates inside the parenting matrix says to a dad when their child is completely stressed out and scared, she doesn't love you any less. Love has nothing to do with it. Love has nothing to do with this dynamic. See, that is classic That is classical inside the parenting matrix conditioning. See what I did there? It seems like appropriate grammar would have been classic conditioning, but it's actually classical conditioning, classical inside the parenting matrix conditioning. We confuse inside the parenting matrix, we confuse love and fear. When Joe says she doesn't love you any less, that is absolutely false. The little girl is completely stressed out and scared and overwhelmed, and there is no love for her father in this moment. That's just the honest to God truth. She's not loving him at all in this moment. She's completely stressed out, and they're completely operating out of fear. Joe's operating out of fear. Dad's stressed out and overwhelmed and operating out of fear, and that's why you're seeing the situation as you're seeing it. So I don't like that statement, she doesn't love you any less. You know what that statement is about inside the parenting matrix? This is what we do. We try to justify and rationalize our behaviors by saying crazy stuff like that. She doesn't love you any less. It's like, don't feel so guilty. Don't feel so stressed, Dad. Don't feel so overwhelmed, Dad. Actually, what I want to do when I've got Dad in this raw emotional place, I'm going to say, what do you feel right now? I'm going to completely ignore the little girl because all that's some doo-doo anyway, right? All that naughty corner stuff, I ended on that last week. So if you didn't get to see the first part of last week, go back and watch it, see how we ended. So I don't even want to go back there. I'm going to completely ignore what's going on there, and I'm going to sit down with Dad. I'm probably going to call Mom over. I'm going to have Mom put her arms around Dad, and I'm going to say, what's going on in your body? What are you feeling? Let it go. Give it to me. Dad's going to get in his gut, and he's going to boo-hoo, and he's going to boo-hoo, and this is what's going to happen. And I'm telling you this is what's going to happen because I operate outside of the matrix. And because I operate outside of the matrix, and I have seen this 20 years, almost 20 years now, I've seen these patterns. I understand what's going on inside the parenting matrix. What's going to happen when given an opportunity, and basically what I'm doing when I set Dad down and I ask him to give me those feelings, what I'm doing is I am giving him an opportunity to step out of the parenting matrix. He's going to boo-hoo, and he's going to get into his gut, and he's going to cry, and he's probably going to get angry. Mom's going to cry. Kids are going to get really quiet because they've never seen Dad cry. Everyone's going to get super empathetic. The empathetic knob, the empathy knob in that home is going to go from 0 to 10 like that. Like that. Everyone is going to get quiet. Even the dogs are going to get quiet. But they're going to get quiet not because Dad's crying, but because Dad is releasing stress. He is releasing stress. His stress vibration, his fear vibration is dropping. So as the empathy knob dials up, the fear and stress knob dials down. Everyone's going to get calmer. And then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask Dad a question. Dad, when was the last time you felt this helpless? Oh, can I get an amen? Can I get it? Can I get an amen? Because the first thing Dad's going to do is he's going to say, I don't know. And I'm going to say, breathe into your body. Breathe into your body, Dad. And then he's going to start boo-hooing again. And he's going to say, when I was 10 years old, when I was 5 years old, my dad used to leave all the time, and Mom had to figure it out herself, and I felt so helpless and overwhelmed. Some story, some trauma story, just like that. It's going to pop right into his conscious mind. And he's going to boo-hoo into that, and Mom's going to boo-hoo, and Mom's going to be like, what? In 20 years I've been married to this man, I've never known this story. I've never heard this story. Oh my God, honey. And she's going to boo-hoo, and he's going to be boo-hoo, and her stress gauge is going to go down, and Dad's stress gauge is going to go down, and the kids are going to probably boo-hoo, and they're, the little ones will probably come over and hug Dad and rub him. And then all of a sudden the whole family's healing. They're all vibing together. They're all healing. right? From this one situation. That's outside of the parenting matrix. That doesn't happen inside the parenting matrix. Here's what happens inside the parenting matrix.
You're right. It's hard to watch.
John, she's still in that corner. She's still in that corner.
Yeah, it's working.
Joe says, so as she's helping Dad rationalize his stress and his overwhelm and his guilt, she points out that the little girl is still in the corner. She says it twice. She's still in the corner. And Dad says, that's right, she is. It's working. Huh? Really? It's working? You got two adults who just put a little 4 or 5-year-old kid in the corner and said, stay in this corner for 4 minutes. And you think the kid, she went to her room initially because she really didn't understand what was going on, but they went and got her and put her back in that freaking corner. You think that kid's going to come out of that corner? She's no idiot. You kids aren't stupid. She knows what the risk is of coming out of that corner. But what we do inside the parenting matrix is we justify this behavior as if it's compliance. And it is compliance. It is behavioral compliance. But we justify it as if it's progress. We justify it as if it's healing. We justify it as if, oh my God, she's feeling loved. This structure that you're setting for her, she's making her feel so loved. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And then we say it's working. So I teach this concept called the parenting continuum. And I give this number line. And on one side is fear and reactivity. There's things like timeout, consequences, behavior modification, points and rewards. On our Post Institute Facebook page, go to videos, and you'll see there's one of those videos in there. I talk about it. I'm sorry, and maybe you can go to the Post Institute YouTube page, and maybe I've talked about it on there, or maybe I'm gonna do a video just for you guys, just for YouTube. And on the other side is love and responsibility, and it's things like understanding and time in and relationship and mindfulness. What we don't understand is that on the right side of the continuum, the fear-based, or left, whatever, well, it's right, you're looking at my right. So on one side, on the fear and reactivity side of the continuum, these most common things that we do operating inside the parenting matrix is these things work, and we wonder why they work. And the thing is, and this is very important, so inside the parenting matrix, we look at a situation like this and we say this is working. We call this working. Okay, so if she were to leave the corner, we'd just give her another minute, or she'd start all over. We call that working. I want you to understand something, because my philosophy, my theory on child behavior, on human behavior, my understanding of the brain, stress, and trauma, is that the things that we do inside the parenting matrix work for 70% of the children. Listen to this. Because anything you do with 70% of children will work. Anything you do with 70% of children will work. You know why? Because their brains have the capacity to regulate stress. This child's brain has the capacity to deal with this high level of stress. She's a biological child. She's not in any kind of daycare. She's not in pre-K or kindergarten or anything like that. So she's home all the time. So she's got consistent, nurturing, loving parents. She probably has had very little trauma. She can tolerate this because her brain can regulate stress. When we're talking about traumatized children, which is kind of, my expertise, when we're talking about children with sensitive stress reaction systems, when we're talking about children who are fearful, they can't tolerate these kinds of things because it just overwhelms them. And this is inside the parenting matrix, is how we continue to screw up our children time and time and time again, especially our traumatized children, because the things we do to our traumatized children create more stress and fear under the auspices of love and relationship and helping them to be responsible, mature adult citizens. That's a big, that's a big statement. Let me say that again. Traumatized children who have very sensitive stress response systems, they get easily overwhelmed by stress, because trauma is any stressful event which has been prolonged, overwhelming, or unpredictable. When you use traditional inside the matrix parenting practices with these children, what you're doing, like this situation, is you're creating more stress. And by creating more stress, you're not helping their regulatory system to expand. You're actually making it more fragile. So it creates a negative feedback loop. So the reason these children get older but not better, is because our traditional inside the parenting matrix practices reinforce stress, which reinforces trauma, which keeps the child emotionally stunted. We as adults operating inside the parenting matrix are doing this to our children because we are unwilling to be courageous enough, bold enough, hardworking enough, conscious enough to challenge the skewed, misinformed, unconscious, stressful, fear-based parenting that dominates the parenting matrix. Boom. I'm not going to say anything other than that. Rewind it and watch what I just said again.
Now, what I'd like you to do, because our minutes are up, is to go over to her and say to her, I want an apology. Okay?
Holy shit. Holy shit. I just said that. Session 2, this is the first session of this. We left off because the little girl needed a freaking nap. See, now I'm getting stressed. I get stressed, I get passionate. My freaking brainstem gets a little activated, I get a little stirred up. We left off because all this is happening because this little girl was tired and needed a nap. So not only have we stressed the little sucker out and stuck her in a corner and justified and rationalized it, but now, see, look at this. Look at this. This is an interesting little image of Joe and Dad. Joe's like, yeah, we're going to take charge here. Dad's like, shit, man, this sucks. Dad does not look inspired. He does not look empowered. And Joe, I don't think Joe's very certain here, but it's a 4-year-old. So with a 4-year-old, we can get away with a lot of this kind of crap. And I say that because with a 4-year-old, you're big. You're so much bigger. You're giants compared to a 4-year-old. You can make a 4-year-old do whatever you want them to do. Okay, now what are you going to do when this child becomes 14? You think you're going to get this child in the naughty corner by the time they turn 14? Of course not. You're probably not going to get them in the naughty corner by the time they turn 8. But if you do, it's just because you're using more control and dominance and more force. Right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over, we want the kid to apologize. What the hell? That is quintessential reactive parenting. Quintessential parenting matrix, reactive, threatening dominating, suppressing parenting. So now we not only do we stress the child out, we're taking no responsibility. We're going to go over and make her apologize to us. If you can't see that that's a crock, if you can't see that that's a crock, you gotta give me a comment. I was going to say just sign off, but I'm not. No, it's not nice of me. It just speaks to how overwhelmed even Big Papa gets. You got to give me a comment and tell me what you're seeing differently. And I swear to God, what you're seeing differently, how you see this differently from me, is you're just going to give me a repeat of something that the parenting matrix would instruct you to do. We punish the child. Now we're going to go over and make her apologize. Here's the reality. We should be apologizing to her for not being tuned in enough, dialed into enough to her sensory system to have recognized when she was needing a nap, and have been able to been courageous enough and conscious enough to have done something to foster that nap or to get her to take a nap before all of this stuff. We should be apologizing to her for having not been more sensitive and attuned to what her needs were without it getting up to this point. But instead, we're going to go and make her apologize to us.
Liar.
Tell her about it.
Liar. Turn around and tell me you're sorry. So apologize. Tell me you're sorry. Okay.
It almost, my blood pressure's going up.
Well done, John. That's fantastic.
Okay. I think I made it through one of the roughest parts of having control again, but I'm happy it worked.
I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Dad gets a well done. Dad gets a good job by using his force to dominate his 4-year-old child, and then requiring an apology. What smart 4-year-old wouldn't apologize? Wouldn't apologize to get out of the corner? We've seen this before on other episodes. What 4-year-old wouldn't apologize to get out of the corner? And then what do we do? What does the 4-year-old do? She's reinforcing Dad's negative behavior. And then Joe's reinforcing Dad's negative behavior. And Dad's feeling better about himself. But it's an illusion. It's the parenting matrix, guys. That's what the parenting matrix is. The parenting matrix, it's blind parenting. It's blind parenting. I'm looking for my mask. I've got a mask around here. It's blind parenting. It's blind parenting. This is blind parenting, and you are walking towards a cliff, and that cliff is adolescence. You are walking towards a cliff, and that cliff is adolescence. That's exactly what this is. It's blind parenting. And I look at this, right here. Look, we have 6 million parents have watched this, have received this reinforcement from the parenting matrix. 6 million. See, the parenting matrix loves to reinforce stuff like this. You have 62,000 thumbs up. 62,000, 10%. No, it's not 10%. 1% of the 6 million have given this a thumbs up. That's actually statistically a very big number. You have 3.6 thousand who don't like it. Who knows what their view is? But the 3.6, what does that represent? 0.02, 0.03 of the 6,000. I mean, it's 0.00. It's crazy.
That afternoon, Jared came home from school. Jared doesn't always get the chance to express to his parents how important his feelings are. And so I brought in a thought box for him. Anytime he has a thought, whether it be happy or sad or an idea or something that he wants to share, that he writes it on the paper and then fold it and put it into the box. And then every evening, Laura, I'd like you to sit down once the girls are in bed and say, hey, let's talk about what you've written down. What do you think of that, Jared? Good. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Mm-hmm. with Mum. And you tell Mum why you think it'd be a good idea.
Because I can talk.
I have no issues with the thought box. My only issue with the thought box is how long is it going to last? How long is Mom at the end of the evening when she's laying down with the twins and she falls asleep in the bed with the twins? How many times is she going to think to go to Jared's thought box and find out what words Jared has written down on a piece of paper? Not being a skeptic, I'm just being a realist. What needs to be happening right now is Mom needs to be sitting down next to Jared, and she needs to be apologizing for not being able to give him the time and attention that he needs, asking him to share how he feels with her, and making a commitment to spend some one-on-one time with him. Making a firm commitment and holding herself accountable to spend one-on-one time with him. Same with Dad. They both need to be sitting here having this conversation with Jared. It just doesn't need to be Mom. This is just another task that's being put on Mom. Again, I don't have a problem with the thought box. I think it's a great idea, but it's a Band-Aid. And the parenting matrix loves to Band-Aid bigger problems. When you get Jared at 15, smoking dope and drinking with his friends, we're going to be reviewing what things he put in the thought box that never got looked at.
What do you, without having to interrupt the girls?
I think it's a great idea. Sleep time is a big issue because there is no routine, and Melora, she sleeps in between the girls. When they fall asleep, Mum's already been asleep for an hour. When it's time to go to bed, tuck them in, hugs and kisses, and say goodnight, and then come out of the bedroom. If the children then come out of the bedroom, I want you then to say, it's bedtime, darling. Bring them in by the hand, tuck them back into bed, and then go back outside again. So both say goodnight to the children and go back out.
Good night, Lila. I love you.
Good night, darling.
I'm gonna tuck you in and give you a kiss, and it's over. It's nighttime.
No, taking off the I don't want to do nighttime.
Bedtime would be wonderful if she can help us with that. It's tiring to do that every single night.
The first time you said good night, darling, it's time for bed. Okay? Yeah? Time for bed, darling.
No, Mommy, I want to lay with me.
Come on, guys, it's time for bed.
I want you to lay with her. Mommy, lay with me. Lay with me. Lay with me.
Did you hear the other one saying, she wants you to lay with her? The other one's good. She's chilling. She's ready to go to sleep. There's just one who's continually getting up.
Mom, if you don't lay with us, Dad's going to.
Ignore that. The second time, when they come out, exactly, it's bedtime.
Mommy, I want you to lay with me.
It's bedtime.
Lay with me.
Okay. So we're going to speed it up. And then, so as you can see, Dad's going to
You to ignore Ashlyn.
nighttime out of bed, 30 minutes later.
This will eventually work, and Ashlyn will end up falling asleep.
I'm having a bad
10th time, 34 minutes later.
So you better just calm down.
Calm down, don't let her overwhelm.
Now 38 minutes later. So we're going on close to an hour of back and forth, stress and overwhelm. And so there's one part of this is the repetition that's actually good. The fact that the parents are following through and having repetition, that's actually a good thing. But the problem is the repetition they're having is the wrong repetition. You see, within the parenting matrix, you have a generational belief that children ultimately should cry themselves to sleep and that it's okay. That children should be put in a room, the door should be closed, and they shouldn't come out, and they should fall asleep. So the parenting matrix really informs us at a deep level that that's okay. So what we're doing here really isn't vastly different. But what I would want to do is especially when Dad's home, and every night An hour before bed, the lights go. See how bright it is in the living room? All those lights should be off. There should be nothing more than a lamp on. There should be gentle music playing. And this should be an hour before bed. Everyone should start settling down before. It's not just go get in bed, time to go to sleep, and lights go off. So you start settling the sensory system. And then you go transition the children into bed. You lay down with them in the bed. You read them a story with a lamp on, or even better is a flashlight, because you pull in all of the potential sensory stimulation by using a flashlight. You read a nice long story to them. Then you close it, and then you lay down and close your eyes, and you plan on putting them to sleep. And there may be times, and why are you doing this? You're going to do this because the ultimate goal is for your children to learn to rest their bodies, regulate their own systems and their circadian rhythms, so that they can not only put themselves to sleep, but they will be able to sleep peacefully as adults for the rest of their life. What you're doing with your children right now is forming the imprints for how they will deal with sleep the rest of their lives. Laying down with these little girls, and in some instances you will fall asleep, is a necessity. Sometimes as a parent, you're just tired. You say to the little girls, and probably at this age I'd have a baby monitor, but you say to the little girls, if you wake up and mommy or daddy, and if dad's home, I'd always have dad doing this routine, give mom time to spend with Jared. So you say to the kids, if you wake up and mommy happens to not be here, all you got to do is call me on the monitor and I'll come back. That's all you got to do. And what you can also do is you lay down with them for a little bit. If they're not quite asleep, you just say, mommy's going to get up. I'm going to come back and check on you. I'll come back and check on you. Stay in bed. Mommy will come back and check on you. Leave the door cracked. You go back in, stick your head in and check on them 5-10 minutes later. Right? It is a regulated process. It is not a stressful process. It's not a my will is greater than your will process. It's not I'm a parent, you're the child process. It is a process of regulation and calm and soothing and nurturing and investment of my parental responsibilities that say I have a responsibility to you to teach you my system, to teach your system how to make nighttime a safe time. Now, what if you combine this with a child who's traumatized, who's been sexually abused at nighttime? You're going to get all kinds of hell then. See, I'm instructing you at a basic parenting level inside of the parenting matrix. I'm giving you just basic concepts on how to work with nighttime with normal children who probably haven't experienced a great deal of stress and trauma. But what about your traumatized children? Then you got to crank that notch up a little bit more. You've got to expect to lay down with them every single night and expect to fall asleep. And guess what? You're going to have to sacrifice as parents. You're going to have to, it's just a sacrifice you got to make. We're not going to put the onus of calming themselves to sleep on the children, because that is how you end up with pharmaceutical companies making billions of dollars on freaking Ambien. Surprise! Didn't think I was going to go there, did you? That's what we do inside the parenting matrix. When we're adults, we just take Ambien or any other manner of sleep disorder pill and drug or supplement, because we didn't learn to regulate our circadian rhythms. Your circadian rhythms controlled by a little nerve structure in your brain, a little nerve bundle in your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It helps you calm down and go to sleep. It is learned. You teach it, you get conditioned.
I think the toughest part for me was hearing Ashlyn crying for me to sleep with her. I felt like I was almost mistreating her. Honestly,
because you are. Mom said, I felt like I was almost mistreating her. Yes, that's your gut. That's your intuition. That's what the parenting matrix doesn't want you to listen to. The parenting matrix doesn't want you to listen to your gut. The parenting matrix doesn't want you to listen to attunement. The parenting matrix doesn't want you to believe that you're an empowered parent and that you have every possible answer inside of you. You just have to calm down and listen to your gut and listen to yourself and be tuned into your children. The parenting matrix doesn't believe in the natural rhythms of parenting. What was that book? Oh my goodness. What is that book? It's a book on it's an attachment parenting book. I can't think of the continuum concept. The Continuum Concept by Gene Liedloff. I recommend you read that book. It's the antithesis of the parenting matrix.
I just want to go lay down with them.
It's hard. I must say one thing. You're not laying out in between them.
I know.
Joe says, I must say one thing, you're not laying in there in between them. As if that's a bad thing. As if that is a bad thing. That is not a bad thing, guys. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to love and nurture your children until they fall asleep comfortably and securely. That's not a bad thing. Yes, it sucks when you're a parent and you have to do that. But guess what? You are a parent. That's what we do when we're parents. We sacrifice, and that's the straight and narrow. The straight and narrow is the sacrifice. It is the taking the responsibility. It is the doing things that no one else is doing. We're talking about straight and narrow parenting. We're not talking about broad and wide parenting. The parenting matrix is all about the broad and the wide, trying to make you believe you're doing the straight and narrow. You're being sold a bill of goods.
I feel like it's working.
I think we're almost here.
It's getting quieter. Do you know?
Okay.
After 45 minutes, they were sound asleep and everything was well, and they didn't.
To what consequence? After 45 minutes later, they are sound asleep. To what consequence? What does the brain do in reaction to stress? It becomes hyper-aroused or it becomes hypo-aroused. So it either escalates or it drops. The reason babies cry themselves to sleep is not because they calm down and go to sleep peacefully. The reason babies cry themselves to sleep is because your brain will not allow you to cry yourself to death. Your brain will not allow you to cry yourself into a coma. Your brain will shut you down and put you into a state of hypoarousal, and that's why you fall asleep. Tomorrow night is going to be hell. It's going to be hell, and someone's going to end up getting a timeout or getting the naughty corner because they're not going to stay in the bed, and Joe's not going to be there. Mom and Dad aren't going to have the same level of patience, but now they've got this parenting matrix education that says just follow this through, and Mom already with Joe in front of her wanted to give up. You don't think that this is going to revert back to the same thing? It's going to. It's going to, because we've not learned anything different, because we're doing the same freaking thing. It's parenting inside of the parenting matrix. Until we get outside of the matrix and do things vastly different, by looking at things vastly different and understanding things vastly different, we're not going to do anything different.
They did not get up in the night, and they did not come to our room, which was really nice.
That's a big turn.
It is nice because Mom and Dad want to make love. They need to be making love. But Mom could easily go wake Dad up because Dad would fall asleep in there with the girls too. Or Dad could wake Mom up and she can come to bed then. Now someone spent time with Jared. Now you guys go make love. Go create some oxytocin. Or get up early in the morning and make love before the kids wake up. Get creative in your love making. Don't put all the onus onto the children. At what consequence are the children staying in the room and not coming to your bedroom? Children will transition themselves naturally. If you give them a chance, they will eventually say, they won't protest when their circadian rhythms have learned how to calm themselves down. When you finish reading the book, they'll be glad you're getting out of bed because you're in their space. It is a natural, it is the continuum. It's natural rhythmic parenting. That's what you do outside of the matrix.
That's huge. We don't do this very often, do we?
If we ever have.
No, it worked. I mean, the technique worked.
So you've done well.
It's great.
You've done well.
I'm happy Joe feels better. You know, she puts a lot of work and effort into these families, and I'm glad the families are feeling better right now. And so I think this has been pretty good. I think this leaves you guys on a high note with the Wischmeyers. We've looked inside the parenting matrix. We've looked closely at some really important transition points in a family. I hope you've been able to see something different and hear something different. And more than anything, I hope you now feel inspired to get outside of the parenting matrix. Get outside of the parenting matrix. February 1st, if you're watching this afterwards, I apologize, but February 1st, 2019, I'm going to walk with a group of committed, passionate parents and professionals to get out of the matrix. We are going to break through the matrix, and I want to invite you. I want to invite you to join us. 28 days, I'm going to be with you every single day. I'm going to invite you to join us by getting out of the matrix. Go to theparentingmatrix.com, www.theparentingmatrix.com. You can see the link in the description below the video, and join us. February 1st, 28 days straight, we will be breaking through the matrix. Everything I just talked to you about. If you do not make a concerted effort to face the wool that's been pulled over your eyes every single day since you were an infant, since you were born, the wool has been pulled over your eyes because it was pulled over your parents' eyes, it was pulled over your grandparents' eyes. If you do not make a concerted effort to break through the parenting matrix, you will be stuck forever, and your relationships will be defined by what you are doing with your children right now. And you'll spend a lifetime trying to repair and not having the relationship that you wish you had. www.theparentingmatrix.com. You are invited to join us. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Inside the Parenting Matrix. I am Big Papa Bryan Post, and Big Papa loves you, and we will see you next time.